to show the changes that have been made. Will that be a good way to do it, Georgia? Quick update.
Yep, sure.
I got Sergio's got a question there. Sergio, you having a question there or not? Hands up.
No, I think Sergio was just posting the video. Or maybe you have a question, Sergio. I don't know. So one thing that I wanted to say on top of what Taf just mentioned is the fact that we're gonna push even harder now for adoption, right? Just like Taf briefly said. So and part of that push will come from the communication side. So if you have any concerns or inquiries or something is not clear for you about the adoption, or if you have doubts yourselves on the system, this is the moment to ask, right? And then we expect you guys to help us with the communications push in the geography. So I'll leave it with you, Georgia, for an update on the news for the application.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna add one thing that on what Rafa and Richard said now. And if you have any feedback from users that come directly to you, please do forward it to me and Taf so we can check it on our side as well, okay? So basically, one site passes for checking in, doing the health. Okay, question already, Eric.
Hi, Georgia. Hi, everyone. Before, I used to see the tab for proxy, but I can no longer see it. I don't know if it's that I'm using an outdated version or what happened. I can no longer see self-proxy.
Yeah, so I was going to say that before you were seeing both, now you probably see one, or for some of you might be both as well. It's because I need, or me or your GeoUnit manager needs to assign the proxy access to you, right? So there is an admin page where we do that. I can add the permissions for you. So any one of you that doesn't have it and needs to have it, yes, please let me know and I can add it. So not everybody can be proxy, okay?
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, Salah, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Taf and the team. I have two questions before I will forget, as usual. The first one, when we have launched this system to our population, we have told them that there is a future plan to link it with the load chart. So what's the status of this project? The second thing, I have received a lot of complaints from the users related to the Power BI PowerPoint extraction. Some of them are very heavy and some of them takes time to be extracted regardless of the internet connectivity, good or bad. And is there any way to fix these two things? Thank you.
Okay, Taf, do you want to explain about the load chart before I move on to the Power BI?
Salah, how are you? So the load chart option, yeah, we have discussed it. It's not going to happen it's not going to happen this year. I don't think so. We're going to focus on the utilization of the system as we currently have it. But it is something we have been looking at, right? I think one of the things that we are conscious of is the business lines, particularly, and what they can get out of this. And we've had some dealings with legal and privacy and stuff like that. Again, with something we are still looking at, Salah. So it's not going to happen in the short term, I don't think.
Okay, thank you.
The Power BI thing, I'm sure Georgia can explain. I'm sure it's probably an old problem rather than a new problem.
Yes, so Salah, yes, we had this problem before because the data were too much to handle in Power BI. At the moment, what we have done is we limit what you see to 1 month data. So right now it should be much faster than before, okay? So if you can try and let me know if that works better, that would be great. I will add this link just in the chat so you can have it as well. So it should be faster now. So let users use it. And if you get any reports back, yes, please contact me and I can check what we can do.
Well, of course, we're assuming that you're using Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, yeah?
Yeah, but Power BI should be okay with any kind of browser.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay.
I think Georgia just disappeared.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. It keeps doing it that today. Even if you ask Therese, it happened in the training.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's getting close to Halloween. Maybe it's like some sort of ghost.
I don't know. Okay, so let me continue. So self and proxy are doing the same kind of process. So I will just show you in proxy. When you are selecting any of the statuses here, you need, of course, to add the name in this case. I'm just going to use odd and continue, right? This is what you see when you're doing a self check-in. It's directly this screen. You don't need to select a user. So in here, you select a location. So if I just type a city in this case, London, I can select between two locations, okay? If I type any other city, let's say Aberdeen, it will give me much more locations there, okay? What else I can do is just type directly the name of the facility and it will bring it up, okay? If it's just one in that area. So there are different ways to search on this box. And then what you can go ahead and do is the self-assessment, the exposure, and it's much easier right now because Taf has eliminated all the questions. He just left one. So it's just a yes and no answer, and you go ahead with this one. And then site-specific, the readiness matrix is here. You just say not ready or ready, and we are already working with the India team to minimize the clicks that are done in this specific screen because now they are 3. So you have to select the status, then confirm, and then done. So we are working to eliminating one of these clicks, so we make it even more faster. If we select no, not ready in this case, we will need an exception number to continue. If we are ready, we can just go ahead and put in what is the check-in type, if it's daily or duration, and check-in. Again, we are working with the India team to eliminate this click here. So as soon as you select dates, the summary will come up in this screen and here will be check-in or cancel, okay, instead of continuing and have to do it here. We notice that some people don't even check in on this stage because they don't notice that they haven't checked in and that's just a summary. So we are trying to fix that as well. Any questions up to here? Okay, your hands are still up, Sal and Sergio, so if you have any questions at this stage, yeah, go ahead. I'll take that as a no. So the other things, the other statuses are the same, kind of the same. They have just a few more fields that you need to complete. In this case, you see here, if you're quarantined, you need to say by who. You need to add your location roughly, and then a city, okay? We don't need any address or anything like that just because of data privacy regulations. And again, a health assessment and duration. The same is for the self-isolation status. Oops, okay. Then the other thing that we have on this side, of course, we have the frequently asked questions, which, as staff said, the data privacy team is reviewing at the moment to remove the or to rephrase, I would say, the mandatory option, the one that right now it doesn't send mandatory. So we will keep the optional to just the if you're on time off, and we will ask people to always check in OneSite Pass if they are working on site or teleworking or on training. Okay. Tav, do you want to add anything on the ask questions?
Yeah, can you? No, the FAQs again. We're working on to update them. Can you also show them the QR code if you're not going to, if you already it's on your list?
Yeah.
QR code, because I think that proxy thing is important, guys. That you know that it's an individual proxy check-in or a group check-in by Excel spreadsheet. But then also the generation of the QR code is a feature that some people might not be familiar with, which will be useful to show.
Yep. So I'll just go by the few things that are very quick to show. Site readiness matrix, instead of checking in and getting the matrix and you don't know what to do, you can come here, any user can come here, check for the facility beforehand and check what are the requirements before they check into that specific location. The other thing that is in here is this send invite. This invite is the new thing that we have to invite third-party users to join OneSite Pass and start checking in. So you can add any email ID here and separated by semicolons. You can add many at the same time. As soon as you send an invite, an email is sent to that that person or these people, if there are many. They get a link to a form to register in OneSite Pass on their own. As soon as they register, one more email is sent to them to set their password, so they have full control over the registration process and their credentials. As soon as they do that, they come in OneSite Pass and they are able to check in here. So I'm just going to log out now to show you how this is done. So you see, if you haven't checked login in OneSite Pass with your numbers or email, the first screen you see actually is this one. If you're an LDAP user like we are, we can just click on sign in with using the SSO and we will just check login in OneSite Pass. But if we are third-party users with an email and password and have gone through the registration, then we can go ahead here, complete these fields and log in, okay? Of course, there is a process. If you have forgotten your password, you can reset it. And also it sends a reminder when the password is close to expire. So these are all in there at the moment. So as soon as they sign in, they actually see exactly the same things as we do, apart from they cannot be admins and they cannot be proxies, okay, because they are third party. Is the only downside we have at the moment. Having said that, as soon as you send the invite and they come in, they can check in themselves, or you as a proxy or anyone as a proxy can find them in the database and check them in as well, okay? So for example, if I try now to show you just that, if I search here, you can search by LDAP user or non-LDAP user, okay? So if I search for my name at the moment as non-LDAP, it will still come up because I have done the process to register myself as third party. So you see there is a different email address and some information that were available. So I can find any non-LDAP user that have used the registration in here and check them in as well. Then what Tav said is about the QR code, and as an admin, you can actually go ahead in permissions and let me just load it. So if you have permissions as admin for a location, you can go ahead and say that this location can have a QR scan and configure anything. So for example, you see here, Andrew, in this case, who is the reception is in London 62BG, has actually a QR scan. Okay, so he will be able, and he will see in this drop down here, a QR scan option. So he will be able to use OneSite Pass to scan QR codes. Then for every site that you have, so if I show you here this one, I hope I have one, otherwise, yes, I do. So for every site that you have, you can actually add the readiness matrix, and you do that by just uploading a file. So every site needs to be assigned basically with, here you see my sites. I have access to these two, for example. I can edit them. When I do that, I can say if this will be a daily and extended check-in, no, sorry, a self or a QR scan. I'm sorry for that. If it's a QR scan, it means that the employees who are going to check in London 62BG, they will need, they will receive an email with a QR scan, okay, with a QR code. As soon as they receive that, the next thing that they will do is when they arrive at the location, their receptionist or guard or any security will have to scan the QR code and let them in. When they scan the QR code, then is when the check-in happens automatically, okay? So also what we have done here is in some locations, taking the temperature is mandatory and recording that. But in some other locations, we cannot do that because of data privacy. That is why when we enable QR scan, we can say we can add temperature, yes, or we cannot add the temperature there. That's it, basically. Taf, do you want to add something about the QR?
I mean, the QR code really is useful for rig sites when we don't have the normal access control, but we have a security guard or someone manning the checkpoint. So you can generate a QR code for contractors, for example, and then they can have that on their phone or they can have it printed out. And then we know that person is certified and has permission to work on that site. As a sideline, we're also working on, I think it's called iWorkplace, another tool, which is a bit like the visitor system, but you can generate an invite through Outlook or something like this, and then the person will have permission to visit that site and it'll be recorded. So for the office locations, we're probably going to use a slightly different system, while for field locations, we think the QR code will be the best option. Right, but you have got the QR code available to you now. So for example, if you were in phase one of going back to the office and you wanted to control the people who go back to the office, only those that had been nominated on that list and given a QR code would be the ones allowed on that site at the moment. So we could have some control. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Good. Then if you select self check-in, which is just as we have it now, you can select between if you allow for that site daily or extended or just daily, and also what is the max period for check-in, which in this case you see here is 45 days. So up to 45 days ahead, I can check in today for 45 days ahead. That's the admin side. Then what else you have in here? Of course, you have a history. So you see your history, your previous 5, I think, is, and user guides, app settings where we have languages, and then that's it in this part of the app. Then, as we said already, we have a Power BI report. We are still refining that and making it more user-friendly and more useful with more graphs, but is restricted access, so only HSC and security employees can have that. Is a case-by-case decision on who gets the access and who not. Tav and I can do that, but also whoever has access at the moment has admin access at the moment. For example, if I go here, any of these people can actually grant access further, but only for the sites that they have access at the moment. Okay. So for example, Bilal will be able to assign further access to other people, but only for these sites. Okay, not for any other. So this is how this works. You don't have to come to me and Tav every time, but you can do it on your own as well.
Can I just add one more thing to that, Georgia? Can you put the dashboard back up?
Yes.
The image of the dashboard. So when you're looking at the, can you just go on to the POB view for the last month? So who's currently checked in, yeah?
Yeah. It's here.
Right. So just choose. I mean, that's obviously the whole world there.
Yep. I'm seeing the whole world. Yes. So
if you think about it if you think about it in a country that you're working in, if you look at those views, you see the working on site. So that's those people who have checked in to work on a site, and then you see the teleworking, training, and all the other options. If you have the view that me and Georgia have, and this sort of super admin view, then that's what you'll see. If you have the normal view, and this is a default that was put in by India, which we have to work on, you will only see. So if we gave it, so for example, if you gave it to a business line manager who wanted access, they're only going to see the working on site view and the training view, and they're going to get zeros for teleworking, business trip, quarantine, self-isolation, and vacation. So they're going to see a 000 option on that. They're only going to see a figure for working on site and training. And that was something that was created by India, which we're in discussion to try to change, because we know that the business line managers particularly want to see where their people are, whether they're working on site or teleworking or whatever they're doing. So
it's something that we discovered lately,
yeah,
guys. We didn't know that India team had put that in place.
Yeah, so we're gonna try and improve that, so you'll get better granularity at that. And the last part of this is obviously the reason we want people to use the one site pass at the work site is for the contact tracing option. So if we get an outbreak of the virus on a site, we can search for the individual that has got the virus, and then we can see all the people based on any time frame we want that have been working with that person at the same time over the last 10, 14 days or whatever it is we decide. And that'll help us with part of our contact tracing option of these. And then we'll break it down whether they were primary contacts or secondary contacts, depending on what they were doing. But it gives us a good start point. And I think this is something that we should make clear to people in the messaging, that this is really why we want them to do this, to help us with our contact tracing, to speed it up, to be able to test people and then get people, either back to work and to stop further spreading of the virus. We have these outbreaks.
Yeah, it's not just the outbreak. Yes, now it's the outbreak, but later on, just to make sure that you'll understand that we want to use it as a POB in cases that TAF has to deal with crisis, like in Azerbaijan at the moment. Yeah. Okay. That's it from our side. Any questions or anything that you want me to go through again? Yes, Salah.
Sorry for another question I have related to the reports we extracted from the Power BI itself. You know that we have Basin and then we have GUnit and after that we have by country and by location, by city. Is there any way to configure the Power BI to meet the new organization, so we have it by division and also by product lines? It is easy for the product line manager or the division manager to subscribe to the Power BI and get the report on his inbox, rather than we send the lists downloaded, filtered, and then we send it to them. What do you think?
Okay, so division and product line filters will come in this report now that we have the data from HR. So yes, that is coming. They are already working on it after my request this week. But the access to division and business line managers won't happen. And that's because of data privacy. Still, they don't allow us to do that. So they won't be able to subscribe, as you say, or get any access granted to them.
I mean, I can add to that. I mean, I appreciate, of course, we have to make it useful to the product lines, business lines. So, yes, we're saying at the moment we have this issue with privacy, but you know, we're still trying to negotiate it, so to speak. I mean, we can justify HSE managers, because at the moment our justification for giving access to the dashboard is for emergency and crisis management, not for day-to-day viewing. And there's this great fear that business lines will be looking at who's working and who's not working, and what time they checked in and what time they checked out, and all this sort of stuff. And this is what the data privacy people keep saying to us. But I still think, you know, if we're going to have a dashboard, we need to make it, you know, available to people who want to see it, and because it's useful to them. So I still think, you know, we need to keep working on the legal people about this. But it's not dead yet, so to speak. But and again, there's a lot of argument over this.
Okay.
Okay. So now the question to you guys is, how can we best communicate about one-site pass and all these features, or the ones at least that are relevant to the actual users, the employees? How can we best communicate that?
Is that a question? Was that a question, Georgia?
Yes, it's a question. Yes.
Well, I think if we have, from experience when we've been communicating things before, such as Green Road and other apps and logins that we're wanting people to use, the FAQ, and having an updated FAQ that we can link to the communication. So, for instance, if I'm sending out communication from Asia, I want to make sure that I have that FAQ that is updated to send with it, and that, as with Green Road, that it's covering all these legal aspects, what it is and what it is used for, and all that kind of thing. And yes, with this, more people, as you say, are going to be able to look at it than with Green Road, which is, I mean, I don't have a problem with that personally, but I do see, as you're saying, that might be an issue for some, and there might be a barrier on top of all the other things that people are having issues with in terms of actual login. So that FAQ, if we can just get that updated and ready, that would be super useful. I'm not sure if there's any need to have any kind of how-to guidelines, and I think the most of the employees don't really need that. I don't think. I don't think it's that complicated to use it. As with the QR codes, are they going to be able to log on with a QR code as well, or is it only to show and scan at entrances?
No, that is only for the check-in, but if you want a QR code to just redirect to onesitepass.com, I can do that for you, yes. I can send you one.
I'm just thinking in terms of simplifying the login process. So again, we wanted people to use their phones and not having to log in many steps or follow many steps. Is it going to, if we have a QR code for login, that people can just scan. So that's what we're doing for a contact tracing when we're going in anywhere around here, right? That you scan a QR code, and you already have an app where you have logged in your registration. So when you scan a QR code, that's what you need to do.
Yep, that I can give you a QR code that redirects here. Yes, definitely.
But
The other thing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Will they still have to log in manually and all that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, they still have to provide all the details, right? It is not automatic.
Right. And is it? Are we considering having some sort of like login app thing?
Yeah, we are considering that, Therese. We are considering that in the future.
Yeah.
Whether when you check in, either through PKI or some sort of code scan, it will update you in the dashboard as that's the location you're working at.
Yeah.
In the longer term, yeah, that will happen in the longer term.
Okay, good.
I think one of the things you should emphasize, guys, is the again, one, you should be familiar with a tool. If you don't know how to use it yourself, then you can't really sell it. So for those who are not that familiar, you really need to play with it. And secondly, is emphasize the app option, which Georgia is using. You still get people coming back, it'd be good if it was on my phone. Well, it's been on the phone for months, but people just don't know about it. And once it's on your phone, it's on your phone, and it's really simple. It takes like 6 seconds to check in. Even I can do it.
So I have the phone app myself as well.
So again, you want to push this phone app because people like it on their phone. They can check in on their phone, and it's really simple.
So I wanna add a few comments. So the first one is the QR code has been from the very beginning in one of the posters that we released. As if you need it urgently, it is there. It was in the screensaver as well. And it just redirects you to the www.onesidepass.com. So the second comment I want to make, go ahead, T.
Yeah, no, sorry, no. So I was thinking that, like I said, like a QR code that links to the app and automatically registers. If you have the app, you use the app to scan a QR code, it would instantly update the app, kind of thing. But anyway.
I got you. So the second thing here is, and I think this I don't know, Taff, why you didn't use this example in this call today, but I'm gonna quote you because it's what we really need to push forward is, if you go to a cafe today, I'm going to give you the example of myself here in the UK. If you want to go to a cafe today, they won't let you in if you haven't checked through the national website for check-in, which is kind of like the one-side pass for the UK, right? But it's public, is from the government. And then you have to check in to go and have your cafe. It's part of the requirement. It's part of the rules. So in the same way, we need to make this work exactly in the same way. So if you're gonna work, it's like the alcohol check in some of the locations. It's like passing your PKI in all of our locations. So one-side pass needs to be part of the rules and the requirements to get in. Is that simple, right? And it was so the way Taff made it sound the other day in one of our calls. He's absolutely right. Is we need to make sure it's part of the requirements in our locations. And again, if some countries are still pulling that ace of, we need to have the discussion with legal, just like Taff mentioned, it's been months already, right? So the legal discussion should have taken place already. That's it.
No,
I don't know, Taff, anything else?
No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, as you know my feelings on it, and it's true. And again, and guys, if that's an issue, that legal thing comes back up in wherever country you're in, can you feed it back to me? Because then I want to pursue it, because some of it's true and some of it's not true. The legal thing just hasn't been talked about, and they don't want to upset people, or it's they think it might be a problem. Let's have it. Let's have the countries named and the names of those places where it is an issue, and then we can we can deal with that, you know, in our own way. And as far as the screensaver is concerned, Raphael, I think perhaps we need to look at an update on the screensaver to include the app or something to show that the icon or something like that. Maybe a revamp of that.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll work with Georgia on an updated version for this week. But I just wanna say one more thing, Taf, is because it, you know, in the CMT's call I keep hearing, oh, it's, you know, maybe it's the communication, you know.
No.
So when you need to engage people, fine, I understand. You know, if I need to suggest that you get a vaccine for flu, yeah, it's all about the communication and how I craft the message. But this is a requirement. So yeah, communications can help, but guys, everyone here in the call, you need to have the discussion with your HSE managers at the geo unit level, particularly, on how you're gonna make this happen. And yes, you can communicate and do a great job on passing the message. At the end of the day, it's about setting the requirement and making people comply and adhere to it.
Hi everyone, and just Raphael, just to add to your point actually, and if we looked at numbers, I'm sure that SCA has one of the lowest maybe number of people using one site pass today.
You do know, Bilal. We've been watching you very closely.
I know. So I mean, just to complete to what Raphael said, I don't think that there is a problem with communication or the type of materials that you are using. We have tried so many communication channels, communication ways, sent an email to everybody and all that, although, and we have included in all our safety meetings and all that. So, but the thing, according to what we hear and all that, when you see union fighting back this actively, of course, you will not have more people using them. However, if you look at our numbers, 80% of them are coming from one single site. Why is that? Because to get into this site, you need to use one site pass. It is set as a requirement from the plant manager. That's why the people are using it. And basically, even before one site pass, they were using another system. So when we have launched one site pass, they said, okay, we will be using your system. And that's it. In the rest of places, when we talk to people why you are not using it, they say, my manager should ask for me to do that. And last time we had discussion with some people, they were saying, if you want to fix this, the managing director of Geo Unit should send an email to everyone asking from them to use it. This is the only solution. This is what we have received recently. So if we don't put it as a requirement, very clear requirement, I don't think that the use of the one site pass will increase significantly in the next few days or few weeks.
Yeah, that is one thing that we are working on with the FAQs, that it will say specifically that it's mandatory. So you can point to that and step on that to push.
But it's a good point. And Bilal, I've just written that down. So now SCAR is going to get some special treatment. But, but again, I want the same from all of you. If if that's the reason, because no manager has bothered after 3-4 months to say you have to use it, because it's got to come from the top, and it's leadership for them to push it down. It's that simple, isn't it? It's that simple. And so it's something to follow up. So I need that feedback from you guys. If that's what you're getting, something very simple like that, then we can follow up on it. And I think what we did before, when, for example, we did the rollout on the standard 26 and the compliance audits and all that, is we kept putting up the geo units of what the percentage of compliance was and all that. And I think that's probably something we need to reintroduce on our meetings, to name and shame those who are doing better and those who are doing worse. I think
I'm working on that.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. And then you can say to them, well, why is it so bad on your G unit? And you can say, give me a reason, and then you can come up with one of their reasons.
I see a few hands up.
Oh yeah. Salah?
Eric? Salah,
Or
yeah,
Eric?
one of you.
Yes, hello, Georgia.
Hey.
Yes, this is Eric. Yeah, I was going to say, in addition, my humble opinion, in addition to maybe pushing people, I think if we also demonstrate the value more to people, that will also help to drive the utilization up. So I don't know what we can do to really show people that this is bringing something to them. I don't know if you see what I'm saying. Try to kind of advertise. It's like the green road. Since we started to tell people, hey, by using the green road, it improves your driving. You can even use it in personal mode and things. I think when people see what they get, what is in need for them, they will tend to use it more.
Okay. Partially agree, because for example, your PKI, you use it, but you don't get anything out of it. It's just a requirement. So I partially agree with that. So if you want a reason for employees to use it, what about keeping them safe for this COVID-19 or for any other emergency that might come up in different regions?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, to me, the keeping safe primary value is that if someone comes in the workplace with the virus, then we can quickly trace the people that have been in contact with our people. It'll definitely assist us with contact tracing. And in some places, this is the only tool we've got to do that, or we have to start looking at PKI swipes and Excel spreadsheets and stuff. The sooner we can identify people, the sooner we can, isolate them from the rest of the population to stop them and reinfecting other people. And that's what we want. So it's that social responsibility, Mio. It's a responsibility to your fellow employees to check in the one-site pass to give us an accurate POB at the work sites, and that's why we're asking people to do it. That would be the value to me.
Yes, and just to echo that answer, Taf, we try, Eric. If you remember the very first communication we released, if you go back to our emails, I don't know how many months ago, you're gonna see that we crafted a few emails with a why, right? Why is the one-site pass important? Now, something that I know is that my why is not necessarily the one that fits the Africa, the Asia, the Middle East scheme to convince and persuade people. That's fine. So you might need to recraft the message and make it resonate in your geography. Fair enough. But with that said, I think we passed that stage already. If it's whoever doesn't want to use it, they're gonna keep on finding excuses, Eric. That's reality, right? So you can try to convince them very hard, and they will just pull another one. So I don't know. I would say I will leave it to you guys to draft the message with the relevant aspect that could help convince your people, because I cannot do that from here, to be honest. We tried already, and it's evident that it worked in some geographies, in some others it didn't. So it will be up to you.
Can I also add to that, though? I mean, obviously, we appreciate that, we've got to sell it to the business lines, the product lines, for value to them. And again, that dashboard of information, I appreciate that would be useful to them, and that might be a good selling point from that perspective as well. And we are working to try and make that available. So I think that's something we can, and one other thing, we're working on a new trip approval process for any journey in the future that's not field related. When you want to book a flight in, when this happens and when they invent the vaccine and we can all start traveling again, the trip approval process is going to be inside the one-side pass. So you're going to book your flights through the one-side pass, and you're going to get all your approvals to travel, etc., through that one-side pass. So it's going to be the focal point for that, which again will be useful for improving utilization. And again, and the reason it's being done in that is to try to reduce the number of places you have to go to book a trip. That's work in progress, and we should see that up in the next couple of months. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Last thing before I ask again.
Thank you very much for the answers. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric. Salam, coming to you. Just one thing before I forget it. Some of the locations had already a solution in place before one-side pass comes out to control or do a POB or access control to locations. I know one in FA was there in Indonesia. If these solutions are still in place and being used, it's something that if you can inform me of that would be great, so I can follow up and get them using one-side pass instead, so they will have to migrate. Salah.
Thank you. It was very inspiring and informative discussion relating how we can enforce the one-side pass. I would like to share you the experience we have here in NAF. So first of all, I think the enforcement of the one-side pass is no longer needs any advertisement or needs propaganda posters to be posted here and there, or even Yammer reminder, although we do. But the reality, it's part of the COVID-19 life-saving rules, and we are expecting everyone to comply. It's one of the life-saving rules, so it is matter of life or death. And at this certain time, I think we need to develop accountability metrics if this rule is violated by anyone, including certification training is not up to date, or someone is not checking his status at one-side pass. What can we do for him? And we need to include that in the accountability metrics. The second comment I would like to pass, if we go back to check COVID-19 life-saving rules for ISS, the third item we have, I check it on one-side pass going to a working location. So I prefer to add another comment here. I will check my one-side pass before going to the work location or vacation, because the problem now, we have people specifically in NAF, we have enforced them whenever they come to the location, they need to raise COVID-19 exemption. And part of that exemption process, the guy, he needs to attach the one-side pass as a snapshot or as a evidence that he has updated his status. And as soon as he goes to quarantine, because we have designated base as a quarantine in MD2, he needs to update his his status as in a quarantine. But we still have a problem with the people in vacation, people working virtual, etc. So in general, I think weekly dashboards, sharing with the management by product line, keep the reminders by everyone for the utilization of one-side pass, and convince the management, specifically doctors and other HSE team, how this app can help us and save time and efforts for the tracing, because it's useful tool. I have tested myself in a couple of investigations we did for COVID positive cases here in Algeria, and I found it very straightforward and useful. Instead of creating Excel sheet, interviewing every single person, asking who were with you for the past 14 days, did you sit with him? No. We get all this information straight away if the guys are committed to update their one-side pass. So to make it short and brief, we need to think about the accountability metrics to be part of the life-saving rules. We need to reconsider the statement mentioned in ISS, so people, they're gonna update their one-side pass when they go to work and when they go to vacations. The third, dashboards on weekly basis to keep it in our weekly calls and our weekly meeting, just to keep the managers alerted about the status. It will be a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Therese has commented something, and I think what Salah just said that they used it for contact tracing and he compared it already with the old way. So maybe Salah and Therese, you can come in contact and discuss that as an example.
And one quick comment, sorry, before we move on, Georgia, because I don't want to let this opportunity pass. That comment on the accountability, Salah, I'm just gonna give you my trick from my HSE manager times. There is a policy that we tend to skip when we talk about policies in Schlumberger that is called the QHSE policy. Read it through, and you might be surprised on what is written there that you can use to make sure that people understand that, you know, it is my responsibility to take care of myself, of my own safety and security, but also of that of those around me, right? So one side pass was written in the way of life-saving rules, precisely to make people understand that this is a matter of life and death, right? And it's not because we want to make it appear that way. Is what the numbers are showing. The issue that you will face in your countries is that if legal is not convinced about this as a life-saving rule and as a requirement to enter a facility, forget about accountability, because if they're not on board at the end of the day, remember, every accountability process must be run by legal, right, and HR. So it would be worthless.
And in case you face these issues with legal, again, as Staff said, please come to us because we can run through the system and show them and answer all their questions, okay? I think Ali had a question because I saw his hand up before Rafael is, yeah, go ahead, Ali.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, team. This is good that we need to be advertisement. A lot of advertisement has been done by the team all over the world. We are fine. Accountability is will be very hard or tight. And as Rafael mentioned, that we need to realize the people that this is their life. They have saving rule. Is it possible if we can bridge with the PKI system? It will be light, not accountability, but it will be light to improve the people and to make a habit that they should use the on-site one-side pass. For example, we did here in KSA, especially for CRE as well and KSA location, we bridge the green road also with a PKI. If the people are coming to CRE, how much people are coming, and we are monitoring on the green road that they use or no, one thing. And the second thing, I mean, that we did with IT, I was involved, I worked with IT also. So the guy who is not coming for 5 days continuously, his access the access will be revoked, PKI, and then he needs to fill all the things, the declaration form which we are using manually, and then we will allow him access, given access. If we can link one side to the PKI, it will be good, and we can monitor the guy, and the guy will be realized, okay, that someone is looking for us on the daily basis.
Yeah, Ali, can I answer that question? Yeah, I mean, we have looked at that option actually, and even the revoking of access. If people don't use the one-side pass and do their check-in, and then they arrive at the location and then try to swipe, their badge doesn't work. Yeah, we can do it technically, and we have discussed it.
You can explain the reasons why we haven't gone through to that stuff if you want.
Yeah, I mean, but we have looked. Technically, it's possible. Yes, technically, it's possible. But of course, it's quite extreme, and you know, we'd rather not be doing that at this stage. And I think I'd rather follow the accountability and build up to it first, than go to that level. But it can be done. It can be done. And I think, you know, look, again, going forward in the longer term, the PKI will probably be linked to the one-side pass. And if people haven't used which means that it'll be automated process rather than something they have to do additionally. Yeah. and then we get everything on one dashboard. Is there anything else to add to that, Georgia?
Nope.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. I've written that down.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are on time, and I know that many people have many things to do. So yeah, go ahead and tell us about anything that you can think of, or if any issues come up with legal, let us know as well. If any applications exist that are being used since the pre one site pass era, yes, please let me know so I can follow up as well. And any questions, you can come to me and ask me anything at any time. Yep.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Taf.
Georgia.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the updates.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Georgia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
We'll have another call in a few weeks to get an update, okay?
Okay, that'd be good.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks.